Welcome to my channel. I'm Scott, and in this video I am going to walk you through the process of valuing Magnit stock by analyzing their financial statements and dissecting their financial ratios so we can determine if it's a buy or a sell. Magnit is the largest food retailer in Russia with over 12,000 stores and over 2,300 locations. The company is headquartered in Russia and was founded in 1994. It went public in 2008 and trades on the Moscow, Kazakhstan, London, Deutsche Börse, and Vienna stock exchanges. Its locations include 9,700 convenience stores, 225 hypermarkets, 2,300 cosmetic stores, and 157 family stores. Let's get started with the model. This is a mid-cap company, 527 billion market cap. They're trading at $5,400 a share, and they have 98 million shares outstanding. All the numbers in this video are in Russian rubles, since we're looking at the ticker that trades on the Moscow Stock Exchange. Let's look at their financials. The way you value a company is you estimate the free cash flows into the future, and then you discount those numbers back to today's value. That's what we're doing in this video. And free cash flow is cash flow from operations minus capital expenditures. Their numbers grow a ton, from negative 16 billion up to 10 billion, up to 31 billion, way up to 118 billion. Net income is the profit and loss on the income statement. It's revenue minus expenses. That's pretty steady each year, although in 2019 it was 9.5 billion. Revenue is the sales for the company, and that grows a lot each year, from 1.1 trillion rubles up to 1.6 trillion. This is the company's income statement. The top line is the revenue, the sales. Below that is the cost of revenue. These are the expenses directly related to generating the revenue. Revenue minus cost of revenue gives you your gross profit, which was the highest in 2020 at 365 billion. Below that is operating expenses. Gross profit minus operating expenses gives you your operating income, which was also the highest in 2020 at 76 billion. Their sales went through the roof with COVID because a lot of people were stuck in their homes and they had to shop at places like this to get their food because hardly anybody was going out to dinner. They paid 44 billion rubles of interest on their debt, which was a little lower than 2019, but almost 4 times as much as 2017. And the bottom line of the income statement is their net income, which is pretty consistent each year. Although in 2019 it was low at 9.5 billion, but I think that's mainly due to an asset impairment. You'll see on the statement of cash flows that cash flows weren't affected in 2019. This is the company's statement of cash flows. The top line is operating cash flow. That's how much cash the company generates from its operational business. You could think of operating cash flow as net income converted to cash, because net income is your accounting profit and loss. It's not actual cash. You can see that operating cash flow grows at a nice rate each year. It really ballooned up in 2020, nearly tripling 2017's number. Then you have capital expenditures, which are investments in property, plant, and equipment. They spent their lowest amount of capex in 2020. It looks like they invested a lot in previous years. They invested more in capex than they brought in that year, so they did have negative free cash flow. Free cash flow is operating cash flow minus capex. Since they had negative free cash flow in 2017, they issued 44 billion of capital stock that year to run their business. Every time a company issues capital stock, that increases the shares outstanding, making your shares less valuable. Since they generated positive free cash flow in 2018 and 19, they bought back stock those 2 years. 18 billion in 2018 and 5 billion in 2019. When a company buys back capital stock, that decreases the shares outstanding, making your shares more valuable. This company also pays a really nice dividend. They have so much free cash flow, they're able to reward their investors with dividends. The 2 main ways to reward investors are to either buy back stock or to pay dividends. Let's look at the capital structure. $183 billion of equity, $523 billion of debt. They're 26% equity, 74% debt, and their WACC is 14%, and that's a discount rate we're going to apply to the future cash flows. We estimated 4 years of future free cash flows. We also estimated a terminal value, which is all cash flows past year 4. That's 1.2 trillion rubles. We discounted those numbers back to today using the weighted average cost of capital. We get a value of the company of $1 trillion. We divide that by 98 million shares, and we get a calculated stock price of 10,917. They're trading at 5,400, so they're trading at a 50% discount. It's a strong buy according to the model. Simply Wall Street is even higher than me. They're at 11,700. They're also saying the stock is undervalued. The top chart is the stock price since it started trading. So if you bought the stock at IPO, it looks like you'd be pretty close to flat. The price was driven up past 11,000 a share, but then it came down after that. This is the stock price to last year, so if you did buy it last year, you could have made a pretty nice return. It looks like it was trading about 4,000 a share. Now it's up to 5,400. This company pays a really nice dividend, 7.44%. They pay a semi-annual dividend. Their payout ratio is 119%. They pay out 33% of their free cash flow. Their industry has a 4% dividend, so they're way higher than their industry. Analysts are forecasting their revenue to grow to 9.4%. Imagine getting a 9.4% dividend yield on a stock like this. That's pretty amazing. They have a really low beta, 0.38, so the stock moves about 1/3 of the market. It has a very low volatility. The stock has gone up 41% in the past 52 weeks, while the S&P 500 went up 58%. The 52-week low was 37.50, the high was 57.84. And the stock is trading above its 50-day and 200-day moving average. About 400,000 shares are traded each day on this stock. Of the 98 million shares outstanding, 80 million are on float and 40% are held by institutions. In the past year, this stock has gone up 57%, its industry went up 18%, and the market 36%. In the past 3 years, this stock has gone up 35%, its industry 23%, and the market 74%. But in the past 5 years, this stock has struggled, down 22%, its industry up 24%, and the market up 140%. Analysts are forecasting their earnings to grow 5%, its industry to grow 18%, and the market to grow 7%. Analysts are forecasting their revenue to grow 7%, its industry 4%, and the market 6%. In the past 5 years, their annual earnings decreased 23%, its industry increased 4%, and the market 10%. In the past year, their earnings increased 268%, its industry 16%, and the market only 1%. The biggest shareholder is VTB Bank at 9.4%, then Marathon Retail, next is Dodge & Cox, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Let's look at their financial ratios. The average PE in the market's 33, the median is 22. PE is stock price over earnings per share. To calculate earnings per share, that's net income over shares outstanding. They're at 16.0, so investors are paying $16 for $1 of earnings. That's a really good PE ratio. Their price of sales is amazing at 0.3, much better than the market median and average. And their price to book is 2.9, also better than the median and average. Their return on invested capital is 8.9%. Their interest coverage ratio is only 1.7, so they can just cover their interest payments 1.7 times. They have a really good ROE at 18, and their current ratio is 0.9, so they can cover 90% of their current liabilities with their current assets. And their current assets are 45 billion rubles of cash, 205 billion of inventory, and 9.2 billion of restricted cash. Restricted cash is cash that's set aside for a specific purpose. They do seem to be well capitalized. They had over 118 billion of free cash flow. They do have negative 17 billion of working capital. Working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. And their dividend payment was over 39 billion rubles. So they have over 61 billion of funding. The best way to look at ratios is to compare them to companies in the same industry. I've done videos on Big Lots, Costco, Dollar General, Dollarama, and Walmart, all in the same industry as Magnit. And if Magnit has a number in blue, they're better than the average. If they have a number in red, they're worse than the average. So they're doing a lot better in all the price multiples. They're a little worse than average in current ratio. They're doing really good in ROE, much better than the average. But they are higher than average in debt. I converted all the market caps to rubles, and they're a lot smaller than average. And they pay the highest dividend by far of all the companies, almost 7.5%. That's an amazing dividend. I wish this stock traded in the United States so I can get that dividend. So to summarize, I have them trading at a 50% discount. This company looks like it's becoming a monopoly. It's really taking over the food market in Russia. I think this is a great long-term hold. This stock is going to break out soon and really be driven up because it has struggled the past few years. Also, even if the stock price is flat, you're getting a 7.5% return on the dividend alone. That's pretty amazing. I rank their free cash flows 10 out of 10, their revenue 9 out of 10, and their ratios 8 out of 10. So let me know what you think. Give this video a like, subscribe, or comment below. Also, if you'd like to get a custom valuation or just support the channel, you can become a member by clicking on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.